Now, if you drank the way that I used to drink 3.5 years ago, then there's no doubt that alcohol is causing you problems. For me, it caused humongous problems in pretty much every single area of my life. Now, what I want to do for you in this video is I want to break down 6 problems that you will face from drinking too much alcohol. And the purpose of this video is not to scare you, is not to intimidate you, is not to make you feel bad. All I want to do is I want to bring awareness to the problems that it can cause and how these problems can exacerbate over time and get worse to spur you into action. Because the goal of this channel, the goal of my business, the goal of pretty much the work that I do is to help you on this journey. I want you to get to a state of mind where you see zero benefits to consuming ethanol. That's where I want to get you to. So while this video, it might not be the usual positive, uplifting message that I bring for you, there's going to be a lot of truth bombs. And for some of you guys, you are going to need to hear this as much as you need to hear, the benefits and the positives. Some of you are going to need to hear the reality. So make sure to watch this video in full. And if you want to get access to a free video training that actually shows you how to control your drinking using first principles thinking, make sure to click the link in the description. There'll be a training video that you can watch that explains the mistakes that a lot of people make when they're trying to stop drinking, as well as the 2 phases of becoming sober clear. So you definitely want to watch the video in the description after this one. So make sure to click the link. But back to the problems. Now, the first way that alcohol is going to cause you a problem in your life is in your finances. Now, alcohol is not free, unless maybe you're brewing it at home, but for most people, they're spending a considerable amount of money on alcohol every single time that they drink. For some people, that might be $10, $20, $30 a day drinking at home. For other people, that might be binging at the weekend, going out to bars and expensive restaurants and paying way over the odds for ethanol. But let's just say on average, you're spending $20 a day or $600 a month on alcohol, right? We put that over the course of a year and it's around $7,200 per year. For some of you, that might be a lot of money. For others, that might not be that bad. But here's the thing. What about the other costs, right? What about the ancillary costs? What about the food that we might order when we've had a few drinks? What about the other ways that it's costing you? Maybe you're spending money on Amazon or something like that when you've had a few drinks. Maybe you're spending money on taxis because you've been drinking and you can't drive home. When we start to look at the ancillary costs surrounding alcohol, we start to get a much different figure, and that figure can slowly creep up. But we don't really account for these things. Like, for example, I remember I lost it was like a $700 wallet that I lost when I was hungover. A client of mine, when I was a personal trainer, bought it as a Christmas gift for me, and I left it on a bus. I mean, there was like Christmas presents that I left at a train station when I was hungover out of my ass. We don't look at these costs, but really, the cost of drinking alcohol financially is a far greater than the cost of the individual drinks that we are buying. Then not only that, but then we think about the lost productivity that we're having in our business, in our work, in our career, and we start to get a much more realistic figure of what alcohol is costing us financially. Now, if you really want to break it down, let's say, that $600 figure a month is actually $1,000 that we're spending a month on alcohol. Plus, we're not making, there's like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month that we could be making if we had a promotion or if we were more focused on our business. There's the extra money that we could be making. And then you put that over the course of the year. And, for some people, this is hundreds of thousands of dollars that they're leaving on the table and they're spending on alcohol every single year. And what I mean by that is it's not a direct spend, but if they were to remove it and they were to not spend the money on alcohol, they were not to waste the money on the other things that they're spending as a result of the drinking, plus they were more focused in their career and their business, it's potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. And then, we can take this to another level. If you were to invest that money and put that over the course of 20 years, for many people, it is costing millions and millions of dollars. But we don't see that, right? All we see is, it's only $10 here. It's $20 for a cocktail. It's $30 for that bottle of wine. We don't see the long-term impact of those decisions, which is why I'm breaking it down for you, because it's sad. We could be retiring 20 years early if we weren't drinking. We could be providing a better life for our family, for our loved ones, for our children, for our partners. We could be doing so much more than literally poisoning ourselves and putting ourselves into an early grave. So that's the first problem that you're going to face, is the financial cost. The second problem that drinking too much alcohol can cause you is breaking trust in the relationships that are closest to you. Now, I would remember when I would stop drinking, I'd tell like my mom or my grandma, like, listen, I'm not drinking again. And they'd be like, that's awesome, that's great. And then 6 weeks later, I'm drinking again, and I've told them, and slowly but surely, the trust just goes down and down and down. Now, sadly, for some people, could have been doing this for many years, telling their partner, I'm not gonna drink, they drink, not gonna drink, they drink, not gonna drink, they drink. And this cycle could be going on for many, many years. Now, sadly, sometimes for some people, it gets too far. Right? They've just completely lost trust in a partner or a very close friend or somebody, and that relationship can just completely disappear, right? And that is heartbreaking for a lot of fathers fathers and mothers and married couples and people that have been in relationships for a long time, that can be absolutely crushing for both parties. You know, I can feel the pain of like thinking back to what it was like when I was drinking and the amount of times I must have broken the trust from people that I loved and loved me. And it's sad. But you can change. I've changed. I've seen many people change. Don't worry about it. You know, you can rebuild that trust. I know that for a fact because I've seen people who are on the verge of divorce get rid of the alcohol and the relationship fixes again. You know, I've rebuilt relationship with my family now. I'm looking after them differently now. I know that you can rebuild the trust. Sadly, for some people, you know, you might have already reached the point where that relationship is over. You're going to have to start again, find somebody else, or, you know, start rebuilding your life. But it's certainly a problem that can happen. Now, the third problem that you can face from drinking too much alcohol is hits to your self-esteem. Now, when we drink, we are putting a toxin in our body that does nothing for us. And often we know inside that we're doing something that we don't really want to do. We'll justify it, we'll rationalize that behavior, but deep down, we know that what we're doing, we don't really want to be doing it. So when we kind of have this dialogue that we're kind of always contradicting by, you know, saying, oh, I'm going to stop and then I drink. And every time that we do this, it just takes a massive blow to our self-confidence and our self-esteem. I know for a fact that I would not be making these YouTube videos if I was drinking because I didn't have the confidence to put myself out there, stand in front of a camera, share personal information. These days, it's very different because I'm not drinking. The confidence has come back. I'm no longer doing something that every time that I do, I'm just getting lower and lower and lower in how I believe in myself. And again, I want to remind you that when you remove alcohol, that self-esteem, that self-confidence, it will come back in bucket loads. You will feel great about yourself, you'll feel great about who you are, and most importantly, you're going to feel confident about the person that you are becoming. So it's a problem, but you can make a change in this area. Which leads me to the fourth problem that you will face, and it's progress. Linear progress. Progress is going to be slower when you're drinking alcohol. I don't care if you're a light drinker, a heavy drinker, whatever, you're slowing yourself down by drinking alcohol because there's no benefit to putting it in your body in the first place, right? Even if you're only having, 4 or 5 drinks a couple of times a week, it is slowing you down. There's no way that somebody that has 4 or 5 drinks and says that they've got no hangover the next day, there's no way that that person is operating at 100% the next day. And they're certainly not operating at 100% during the time that they're actually drinking. Progress is slower. I'm not saying you can't make progress as a drinker, right? Most people are progressing in their life whilst drinking alcohol. But if you want that progress to be faster, to be more enjoyable, to be more consistent, alcohol does not fit into that picture. Which leads me to the fifth problem that you can face, and it's down to health. We know that alcohol is a toxin, right? It's a chemical, it's a poison, it's an addictive drug. And the hits that it has to our health over the long term, drastic. We can put on weight, but then we've got all the diseases that it can cause, the increased risk of cancer, the liver cirrhosis, the brain damage, all of these different things that can happen as a result of drinking this drug. And not only does it have massive impacts on our physical health, but our mental health can suffer in huge ways as well. Anxiety can be higher, depression can be higher. It's no secret. I've actually made a more in-depth video talking about how alcohol actually affects our health. If you click the link up here, you'll be able to access that video if you want more details on that. But we can expect huge impacts in our health. However, the good news is that can also turn around when we decide to stop drinking. Which leads me to the sixth problem and the final problem that you can face as a result of drinking too much alcohol. Drinking too much alcohol means that you will never reach your potential. You will never get to that place where life is 10 out of 10 in every single area and you're moving towards what you really want. That's my motivation to not drink alcohol. I want to get to that place where I look back at my life and I don't see regret. I just pushed it all. I went to the edge. I just went for it. That's what I want to look back at when I'm 90 years of age. I don't want to look back and see this half-lived life where I could have been so much more. I could have done so much more. And when we're drinking, we're never going to reach that full potential. But when you stop, guess what? That becomes possible, and that's why I'm excited for you. That's why I love making these videos, sharing this message with you. Don't forget, click the link in the description for the training on first principles thinking. Have a great day.